Today is Tuesday, October 5. I'm Pastor Michael, and this is Wilderness Wanderings. Our text is from Deuteronomy 20, verse 1. When you go to war against your enemies and see horses and chariots and an army greater than yours, do not be afraid of them, because the Lord your God, who brought you up out of Egypt, will be with you. Our text introduces a chapter that is difficult to read. It is offensive to our modern sensibilities. We should rightly wrestle with the questions of Israel at war. Why did it have to be this way? I'm not sure that we can fully satisfy ourselves with an answer. However, some things should probably be said about this, so here goes. Warfare seems to be about as old as humanity. Think of the story in Genesis 4 between two brothers in which the one kills the other. By the time Israel emerges out of Egypt, one nation conquering another was par for the course and has been right up to the present day. Maybe God was simply allowing Israel to function according to human rules. Whatever the reasons for Israel's warfare, the church is not Israel. The church must not encourage the mobilization of armies for the Christian cause. It must be stated that one of the reasons Canada now has a National Day of Truth and Reconciliation is because the church took up arms to further God's cause. She felt compelled to Christianize North America by whatever means possible. To this day, the church pays the price of such notions. It is worth noting that in Israel, warfare was not glorified. She was not encouraged to have a standing army or gather war horses. Also, as in this chapter, there was no disgrace in being afraid. People who were frightened were encouraged to go home. No shame. And people in various situations, such as engaged to be married or having just planted a new vineyard, were told to go home and enjoy what waited for them there. Should we just throw this chapter out then? No. I think our text lies behind some themes that show up later in the scriptures. Some of the Psalms, for example. Do not put your trust in princes, in human beings who cannot save. When their spirit departs, they return to the ground. On that very day, their plans come to nothing. Blessed are those whose help is the God of Jacob, whose hope is in the Lord their God. Psalm 146, verses 3 through 5. And it is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in man. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in princes. Psalm 118, 8 and 9. This theme makes its way into the New Testament. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that, when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything, to stand. Ephesians 6, 9 and 13. There has been much ado over the past decades about Christians being warriors, the target audience being boys and young men. But this defies the logic of this famous passage about the armor of God. Yes, Christians, male and female, are encouraged to put on the armor of God. But Paul does not tell us to fight. Rather, we are told to stand against the devil's schemes, to stand our ground, to stand. The emphasis throughout is not on what we are doing, but on what God does and gives. Like Israel, we are not to trust in ourselves, but in the power and might of our God. Isaiah said, "In quietness and trust is your strength." But Israel chose to flee on wild horses and was defeated. Waiting on the Lord, Psalm 130, not warfare, is a pervasive biblical image. As you journey on, go with the blessing of God. May the peace of the Lord Christ go with you wherever he may send you. May he guide you through the wilderness, protect you through the storm. May he bring you home rejoicing at the wonders he has shown you. May he bring you home rejoicing once again into our doors.